we were arguing about something, I don't even know what, because I'm sure it was something so small, and he's like, "Please go eat." So I was like, "Okay, fine, you're right. It's time for me to eat." And then I ate, and he's like, "Do you feel better?" I'm like, "Yes."
Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today's athlete is a mom of two wild, wonderful boys and a dedicated online women's wellness coach, as well as graphic designer. And of course, IFBB Bikini Pro, whose fitness journey spans more than a decade. She first stepped on stage in 2014 during what some might call the early fit model era of bikini, and competed relentlessly from 2014 to 2015 and has completed well over 10 to 15 shows, I believe. And her season ended with a fourth place finish at Junior Nationals before she stepped away from the stage for 8 years to get married to her gym crush, is how I perceived it, and grow her family. This athlete returned to competing in 2023, this time with her husband, and together they won their regional shows, placed sixth at Nationals in 2024, and spent time growing together before coming back again, stronger in 2025. Her husband actually earned his IFBB Pro card in Classic Physique at his first national show of the season, and she earned hers shortly after, placing third at, is that right? I think I might have got that wrong.
No, I placed 3rd at,
USA's.
it was USA's, yeah.
Okay, I got it right. And I was like, did I get that right? Placed third at USA's and finally claimed her IFBB Pro card at North American shortly thereafter. And their stories are deeply intertwined, competing as partners, supporting each other's careers, and raising their family while pursuing these elite goals. Outside of competing, this competitor is passionate about helping women, especially moms, make sustainable changes with nutrition and training. Having been overweight post-babies and having navigated an eating disorder in college, she brings empathy and lived experience to her coaching. Welcome to the show, Mallory Ennis. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy that you're here. Like I said, I'm just grateful I can learn from you as well. And I like to start off the episodes by asking if there's anything you do or think about, or maybe even a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage.
Oh my gosh, before my heel hits the stage, I'm honestly backstage talking to other girls and hyping them up, and I feel like somehow it just creates good energy for everyone, and everyone's really supportive, so then that way I know when I'm going on stage, it's like I've kind of brought that up for them, and so they do it for in turn for me. But other than that, I'm jamming to the music that the DJ has on and just trying to get in the zone, and I my mantra, if you will, I pretty
Mhm.
much am just like, "I'm that girl. I'm that girl." And so that way when I go on stage, I'm that girl, and I just love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. When you say that, do you have like a visual that comes to mind, or like what does that mean to you?
It's just confidence, and truthfully, obviously, like you said, I've been doing this for over a decade. It's just it's a confidence, but it's just, like, having assurance in yourself, and so
Mhm.
knowing I've already done the work, I've already done every single thing I can do, my hair's on point, my makeup's on point, at this point, the judges just need to see me, and actually, when I won my IFBB Pro card, I tripped on stage, like, during my routine,
I
um
didn't see that in the video.
Yes, if you go back and you watch it, like, at the very beginning, you see me kind of stumble, but that's because I was blind, like, literally halfway blind. I didn't have a contact in because it ripped the day of
No.
the show. Yes. So it's just having that, like, the judges just needed to see me, but also just, like, having assurance of, like, I've done all the work. This is me at this point, and I'm your girl, so pick me. It's like what I
Oh
just go
my
through in my
God.
head.
I love that. It's like then you're standing there and you're like looking at all of them like, come on, you
Yes.
want this.
Yeah. So I visualize when I'm backstage too, like when I'm saying
Mm.
I'm that girl, I do go ahead and visualize like the judges panel. Because the lights are so bright, you can't really see the audience usually anyways. So if I'm already visualizing the judges in my head too, when I go out there, I'm not so nervous because in my mind, I've already been picturing them, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's, actually a great hack, I think, for practicing posing too, is to
Yeah.
imagine the judging panel in front of you.
100%.
So, let's go to 2014, 2015. How would you compare those times and what was known? Because I also started in 2015, so I have
Yeah.
some, and for you, you were a year earlier, so I have some understanding of a lot of that evolution as well, and I'd like to hear from your perspective, like, what do you think has changed about, excuse me, bikini and what was known and even done at the time to get ready for stage compared to now?
It's kind of so the my thoughts between bikini of what it was then and what it is now. Obviously, they are looking for more muscle maturity, density. They want that poppiness of your muscles while still looking soft. Whereas back in the day, whenever I did it, I feel like they still liked seeing some muscularity, but it was a lot softer, a lot smaller. And then, but obviously, you have to consider too that a lot of these women that are competing now who are on the Olympia stage, they have been competing for a very long time. So they're going to have more muscle density. So the, division just kind of had to evolve with the competitors because our goals are always just to keep growing, keep getting bigger, especially the glutes. But yeah, like if you look back at my pictures from back when I started competing back in 2014 and 15, I mean, I was little. I was little. I was skin and bones.
You've grown so much.
Yes. And so I've had to put on a lot of muscle since then, but I've had the time to do it, thankfully. But yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and the posing, obviously, like the stallion pose, and then we even did like the moon pose where it was the back pose, but your feet
Okay.
were together and
Yes.
crossed, and like really cute. Um,
Uh-huh.
so obviously the posing has changed a lot since then too, and so having to adjust to that coming back to this stage back in 2022, I believe is when I started competing again, was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I would imagine too, because did you keep up with the industry or were you just like, okay, I'm gonna re-immerse myself and now I see all these changes? Like, how did you feel when you entered back into it?
I was always kind of keeping up with it just because of friends that
Okay.
competed or just people that I followed for a very long time on Instagram. I was just following along on their journey. But I also, even though I took 8 years off, I was still doing macros. I was still training like a competitor. So I
Okay.
just wasn't going on stage. That's why when my husband was like, I think I want to do a show, I was like, look here, buddy, I could have already been a pro at this point, number one. Number two, if you're going back on stage and if you wanted to compete, then I'll go back on stage with you. I'll dust off my heels and I'll get back at it. Because at that point I was like, well, why not? We're already doing
Yeah.
everything that competitors do. We live the lifestyle,
Mhm.
so might as well go on stage and do it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that actually that's an interesting part of your journey that I think is worth talking about, that you were still living the lifestyle for 8 years. You
Yeah.
just weren't stepping on stage. Mainly this was because you were growing your family, right?
Yeah. So we have 2 boys. I have a 6-year-old and he's about to be 4 actually next week.
Oh.
So we took time off to just I poured into my marriage because as you know too, doing this lifestyle, it can be isolating. You're not going out
Mhm.
and doing things all the time. Or you are and you're bringing your food and your Tupperware. So I just needed the mental break at first. And then we got pregnant. Owen was a honeymoon baby. And so it's like, oh, okay,
Wow.
well, this is what we're doing now. We're having children. um,
Yeah.
so I just took time off just to focus on having kids and, being a mom.
That's so cool. I
Yeah.
love that so much. And then when you got back into it, was there anything that surprised you about maybe prep or the changes, even though you were still living the lifestyle? Like, was there anything
Mhm.
that surprised you?
Um, Honestly, no. If anything, it was better coming back after taking 8 years off. Whenever I was younger and doing it, in my early 20s, I was very uneducated, didn't really know what I was doing. So I had a coach who at the time I just trusted completely. And looking back at my old diet, I'm like, I was eating nothing, which is why I was skin and bones.
Mhm.
Um, versus now coming back into it, I'm so much more educated about nutrition and health and like cardio exercises of like, how much cardio you should be doing. Um, so coming back to it, it was different, but in a good way because it's like I already know what I'm doing. I already know what's safe. I already know what to expect. So coming back to it, I just had more like a sense of peace and calm. And then I remember my first show, the first regional show I did coming back, I was like, I belong here. Whereas growing up, not growing up, but like back in 2014,
Yeah.
2015, I always got nervous before stage.
Mm.
And so this time it was like, no, I already know what I'm doing. I belong here. And so it was just really fun and really like a full circle moment, I guess, to like come back to stage
Mm.
after taking almost a decade off.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to come back and do so well on your return too. Like it wasn't just like, I'm gonna come back, see if I still like it. Like you obviously brought that fire enough to the stage and your work over 8 years paid off. You didn't just stop everything altogether. So
Yeah.
you were still following macros when you had those 8 years off. You were still training.
Yeah.
How did
And I was
you?
still working with a coach too, not to cut you
Oh,
off, but I was still
really?
working. Yeah. So I would still work with
Oh,
coaches,
okay.
just wasn't doing competitions essentially. So that's why I was like, nothing is going to change except for the fact that we're going to be going on stage now.
Was he also doing that? Was he also working with coaches, your husband?
Yeah, so he wasn't at first, but he knew that I was when we got together. And then for him, he was just like, I already know what I'm doing, but I just want to get better, right? Like that's our mentalities as athletes is how can we be better? How can we improve? He saw my experience with my coach. And so he was like, well, yeah, let's just take it to the next level. Let's see what he can do for me. And then sure enough, he started seeing his body composition changing. And then I think that's when he was kind of like, oh, I could compete. Like I
Yeah.
could do this. And then that's when he wanted to start competing.
Wow. Was he always very muscular or did he have to grow a lot into classic?
He had to grow into classic. I would say when we first started dating, he was more of a physique competitor. With his body type, he's just naturally can burn fat like a psycho. Like it's so I get so jealous whenever it's time for him to cut. And I'm like, how much cardio are you doing? He's like, oh, like 20 minutes of walking. I'm like,
Must
that's my
be
off
nice. That's my off
season.
season. Exactly.
Yeah. So he was always really muscular, but just smaller. So for him to grow, he has to eat so much food. And typically by the end of the season, he's like, I'm tired of eating. I'm ready to cut because it just comes naturally for him.
I bet. Yeah, I guess it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword, right? Like, which would you rather have?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for him, it was harder to put on muscle, but he is a type A person to where if he's going to do something, he's going to be 100% all in. And
Mhm.
he took his off seasons just as seriously as he did his prep. And obviously it paid off. His first national show, he won. So I'm like, cool.
Mhm.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah. Did that motivate you?
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, okay, you can't turn pro this quick. Whereas I've been doing it for forever, it seems. So yeah, it really motivated me. And he's always just so encouraging when he doesn't even mean to be, because I know he's so type A and so on point all the time, to where it's like, well, if you're all in, I can't not be all in. You know what I mean? So just watching him and his journey has motivated me in mine too, because it's like, okay, if you can do it, I can do it, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say there's any unique challenges to competing at the same time as your spouse and especially while navigating family life?
Yeah, so there's definitely challenges, like especially like show day.
Mm.
If we were doing the same show, which we have, I typically do my own hair and makeup, but I also do his makeup for him because guys like they get tan
Yeah.
from the neck down, and then it's just like pale white. So I would add foundation, to his face and bronzer to make it blend with his tan. And then he is also platinum blonde. So I would like draw on his eyebrows so that way he doesn't look like he's just got eyes and a smile on stage.
Yeah.
So the challenging part on those shows, like especially those regional shows that we did together, was having enough time and before prejudging to get me ready and him ready at the same time.
Oh, especially with him being on stage before you.
Yeah, yeah. So that was challenging, but other than that, I guess the only challenges would be, like, when we go to the gym and stuff, like, because we've got kids that we have to watch, but it's not so much challenging as it is understanding that, like, okay, we both need to work out, so I'll watch the kids, you go, or vice versa, and or, we get it. If someone needs to go do something, whether it's like a posing, lesson with a coach online, and they're like, "Okay, I've gotta go do my posing session," then okay, I'll watch the kids, I'll make sure they're not near you. So it's challenging, but because we both do it, there's understanding. And so we, give a lot of leeway to the other person. And I will say too, there's a lot of understanding whenever I was in prep. It just made me think of I was hangry
Yeah.
because I was cutting. And my
Uh-huh.
husband was like, we were arguing about something. I don't even know what, because I'm sure it was something so small. And he's like, please go eat. So I was like, okay, fine, you're right. It's time for me to eat. And then I ate and he's like, do you feel better? I'm like, yes. So there's also understandings of, when someone is in prep, how hard it is to where, how can we support the other person?
Are you a competitor looking to make mental gains and further your personal development? Are you struggling with the post show blues or feeling the pressure of prep? Maybe you're lost somewhere in the middle and not sure what's next. If you really want to make peace with food, your body, and your goals, then I highly recommend you check out my competitor card deck, which can be found at www.celestial.fit/cards. This is a free resource for competitors, and the deck includes 3 different series. One is affirmations and I am statements, another is the thought-provoking question prompts that you could journal on or just think about, and the last deck includes action steps with specific mentorship that is going to support you in those areas of which I just mentioned. So whether you're looking to feel better in your own skin, develop a healthier relationship with food, feel more motivated, connect deeply with yourself, or really get into your mindset to bring you closer to your goals, then these cards are for you, and I would love to see you utilizing them. Again, you can visit www.celestial.fit/cards to download yours right away. Yeah, absolutely. I actually was joking about this in a marriage group because they were like talking about HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Like,
Yeah.
if don't engage in a conversation, and I'm like, I joke with my clients too. I'm like, when you're in prep, I guess we should just never be spoken to,
Yes.
because
Don't talk
we're
to me.
probably hungry,
Yeah, for
maybe
sure.
not angry, but definitely lonely at times and tired majority of the time. So
Yeah.
it's important to be that much more mindful and aware. And it's great you have a partner who sees that too.
Yeah, 100%. It helps.
Yeah. Oh, big deal. And how does it change, or how has it changed your marriage dynamic, even like family and professional life? Like, what influence have you seen on that?
I feel like it's brought us closer, honestly, because we have something that we do together. So even if we're not at the gym together, we're at home doing the day to day together, like the meal prep, the grocery shopping, eating our 5 meals a day together. So it's brought us closer because we have a hobby to do together now. Versus I know that, like, a lot of married couples don't. The husband will go golf, the girls will go shopping or whatever it is. So we still have our other outlets that we enjoy. But for our relationship, it is definitely, I would say, brought us closer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Like, having something you can do together. And even if someone doesn't bodybuild with their spouse, that's such a great point, anyways, to continue to have things that you engage in as a
Mhm.
team.
Yeah, 100%. No matter what you find that you enjoy, um, I mean, going on dates is great, and we still do that, but I would say that, like, our marriage is not the foundation from bodybuilding, but it's been a really good just factor that has brought us closer.
Absolutely. Now, have you seen this lifestyle? Because you've been always living the fit lifestyle. Have you seen it influence your children?
Yes, in, like, the best ways. One, they know how often we eat. So they're always like, "Mom, can we go do this? But you need to eat first, right?" And so, like, they
That's
understand
so
that,
great.
like, food is fuel. So my 6-year-old loves to go to the gym with us. And even if he's not, like, working out with us, but he just loves to go. But I think it's also because we have a really good gym community here in Minnesota at Iron Alliance.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
but he will do like if he sees my husband like posing and stuff, he'll like do the poses with him and they'll be like,
Oh,
"Look
that's
at
so
my
cute.
muscles, mom." And I'm like, "I know, you're so buff." And he's like, "Yeah, it's from all those chicken nuggets." So it's funny
I
like
love it.
like
He knows
teaching
the
them.
protein.
Yes, and so the other day too, we were watching a movie and he was like, "Mom, I'm hungry." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you want, bud?" And he's like, "Well, something with protein." I'm like, "Okay." So they're
Say
learning about
less.
nutrition too. I mean, they don't eat our extreme diet. I still give them fun stuff like macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets and whatnot. But they do understand to like prioritize protein and carbs, and then you can have the fun stuff after you eat your dinner.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
actually interesting hearing you say that because when I talked to my nephew, who's gonna be 3 in, June, but he's 2 now,
Yeah.
and when I talked to my stepson, who is 13 now, just turned 13, I realize this, that especially now that I don't do competing anymore, I realize how often I talk about food, protein, carbs, and fats, like,
Yes.
and then I like, my husband last night was like, "Doesn't this dinner I made for us look really good for him and his son?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it's a great balance of your protein, your carbs, your fats, and it looks like you've added some mic." I was like, "Oh, no." Like, I just realized I talk about food
Yeah.
that way, so I could
Yeah.
see how if it's a natural part of your language,
Mhm.
your kids would start saying that too.
Oh, yeah, and they ask us all the time, like, "What are we eating?" "Well, why are we eating whatever we're eating?"
Yeah.
And so it's a good learning opportunity for them, which I did not know about nutrition until after college. So for them to like, be learning at this about this at such a young age, I'm like, regardless of whether or not my kids are going to be athletic, at least they will know about nutrition, about, like, fueling your body and even, like, how to heal your body with food.
I love
Like, if you're
that.
not feeling well, this is what you should be eating, or if you're sick, this is what you should be eating, to help your body, get better. So we both teach them that just from us doing our normal routines.
Oh, that's so great. That's
Yeah.
so awesome. Yeah, I hope when I have my son, like, I'll talk to him about how food influences him. Like, 'cause I tell my nephew, he'll be eating, like, cottage cheese, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Does your brain and your body feel so good eating something with fat and
Yeah.
protein?" And he's like, he doesn't know, but he
He
knows, you
doesn't
know?
know. Yeah, it'll come naturally. Like the other day too, Owen was at hockey. I noticed that towards the end of hockey practice, he was starting to get really tired. And he's like, "Yeah, mom, I'm really tired." I'm like, "Well, bud, you also didn't eat your whole lunch before we came. And I told you you needed to eat so
Oh,
that way you would have energy and you didn't." And he's like, "Oh." And I'm like, "Yes. So next time you
wow.
need to eat all of your food. And then that way you'll have the energy to play hockey." And so it's just it comes up in
I love that.
conversations like that, to where they'll connect the dots themselves, and we'll foster that learning just from us doing our normal routines.
That's beautiful, and it doesn't sound like they're not seeing it from a deficit perspective, they're
No.
seeing it from
Yeah.
a usefulness, like a,
Yeah.
"Okay, yeah, mom and dad are dieting for stage," but they don't
Yeah.
see it like that, they see it like, "Mom and dad are fueling their bodies to get to this goal."
Yeah, yeah, I for sure try to be cognizant of that, to not like, even though we're in bodybuilding, to not bring it back to aesthetics, but to bring it back to strength and energy, to do whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're playing sports. So I always try to make it about them too, like I said, like about playing hockey to have energy, or if they're like, "Look how strong I am," and they pick up like water bottles or something, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're so strong," and they're like, "Yeah, it's because we eat our chicken nuggets." So like they relate food to strength or energy or muscles, but in turn strength versus like looking a certain way. Like we never talk about it in that sense. I don't want them to get insecure.
For sure, yeah, I love that. Has that influenced even how you perceive bodybuilding for yourself?
100%. Yeah. Like I do not get tied up on the scale. I do not care what I weigh. I genuinely don't. Um, for me, I feel so much better, when I'm eating healthy and I'm eating right versus when I'm eating junk food. Um, so yeah, but I also feel like that has come with being older and mature, like what I said, so coming back to stage after taking 8 years off, I'm in my almost mid-30s. I don't know what you consider 33, mid-30s, early 30s, I don't know.
That's
Um,
early to me. Once you hit
yeah,
35, now we're in the middle, I'd say.
yeah, then we're in the middle. Okay, so I'll be early, I'll be young 30s.
Yeah.
I feel like that's come with age too, to where, like, I don't get tied up so much in how I look, which again, I know sounds so backwards because I am an IFBB pro, but, like, I understand that even in off season, like, my body is going to have to put on fat if I want to put on muscles. Like, I don't stress about it, especially because I know it's gonna come off, you know? So it's like I don't really care in the interim what I really look like if I know I'm at my end goal is, and I know I'm gonna reach that goal. If this is part of the process, then it's part of the process, and I'll just, I accept it.
Yeah, I love that so much. And you had an experience in the past too with disordered eating, so that
Mhm.
shows you've come a very long way.
Yeah, and I would say that learning so much about nutrition and bodybuilding, that's what took me out of that.
Mm,
Um, so I was bulimic for a time after college because I had a horrible breakup. I was
mhm,
depressed. So I wouldn't eat, and then when I would eat, it would come back up. Um, but then after that, when I was kind of healing, I didn't know what to eat to get to my goals. So learning about nutrition, working with coaches, and then seeing results, I was like it just like it was a light bulb moment. So competing and having a coach, having someone to hold me accountable, learning about nutrition like I do now, I'll never go back. Like it's like I don't feel the need to do that. But it honestly has like saved me, I would say.
yeah, sounds like it. Is that
Yeah.
why you got into the gym, or like what brought you into it for the first place?
So after that bad breakup, when I was in a really bad place mentally, my parents were also going through a really bad divorce.
Mm,
So for me, I just started going to the gym because I needed some sort of outlet. And again, I didn't really know what that outlet would be. I was just like, I'm just going to start going to the gym. Like, I just need to like walk or I just need to run. So I was always doing cardio. And then I met a guy at the gym who was a bodybuilder, and we started dating and he just started slowly teaching me about nutrition and never in like a demeaning way, but it was very nice and he was always just very encouraging and just very helpful. So it made me fall in love then with
mm.
nutrition and health and exercise. We broke up and then I moved to Dallas, Texas, and I was a single girl and I just kind of kept doing my own thing based off of what he told me. And
Mm.
then, at that Metroflex gym in Dallas, that's when a lot of the gym rats there were like, "You should compete." And since it's so big there, I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a shot." And so then the rest is history.
That's so awesome. And I've heard
Yeah.
Texas shows are incredible.
They're huge and they're so fun. But yeah, the bodybuilding community, especially like in Dallas and Austin, is really great.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you obviously you loved it enough to have like a great first season and to push yourself. And then you took the time off, and then when you returned, you also took an improvement season with your husband to grow. So what had to
Yeah.
change? Um, like what was your feedback when you returned, and what had to change in your improvement season to end up getting your pro card?
Um, so putting on more muscle was one of the feedbacks. And then I always just came in too soft. So before I earned my pro card, I was working with a different coach, and so the feedback was
Mm,
always consistent of you're coming in too soft. We see your muscle, we know you have it, but we want to see it more. And so the coach that I was with just wasn't um, super attentive, especially like when it came to the end of
mhm,
cutting. So like the beginning of peak week and everything. So
mm.
I wanted to switch coaches because I wanted someone way hands-on and detail oriented. So that's when I switched to Jordan with Fit Body Fusion. And 1,000 res 1,000% recommend Fit Body Fusion if anyone is looking for a coach. Like, they were so attentive the entire time, even still in off season, she's so attentive and like, "You're doing your back pose wrong." And I'm like, "I'm just doing a check-in. Like, what are we talking about? I'm in off season, it doesn't matter." But, like, every single detail matters to them all the time. And if someone is like me and as like we're putting the time in, we're putting the effort in, I'm giving 100%, I want a coach that matches that. So,
Sure.
when we did the regional show and we got first, when we both got 6th at nationals and we got 6th twice at 2 national shows, that's when we were like, "Okay, we need to take a step back. We need to reassess what's going on. We need to take the judges' feedback because if but, both national shows, we both got 6th place. Clearly, we need to make improvements." So we both took time off to put more muscle on. My husband was had to put whole muscle on like everywhere. Essentially, he just needed his feedback was get bigger. And then for me, they were like, "We need you to, especially like your glutes, bring up your glutes, but then we also just want to keep seeing you come in tighter." So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you definitely delivered on that feedback. Of course, they're still telling you to grow your upper glutes, but it's bikini, so
Yes, and they're always gonna pick apart the glutes. I mean, that is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've put on leaps and bounds in terms of what the judges wanted to see, and so having it finally pay off was so rewarding because you just finally feel seen for all of your hard work.
Mhm. Oh, definitely. And I like what you said too about having a coach who has that same level of commitment and
Mhm.
drive as you, because you want
Yeah,
someone who believes in your journey and your
yeah.
abilities.
Yeah, I want a coach that wants to see me win as much as I want to see me win. Like, so
Right.
they're pouring in 100%, so am I, to where I know then no matter what, the end of the day, what the result is, like we both did our best versus knowing I did my best, but then having a coach that's not 100% in. And so you're like, well, could we have done something different? I didn't want there to be any type of guessing. And because I'm older and more mature and I've got kids, I feel like I'm on a tighter timeline than a lot of the other competitors, to where it's like, I'm doing this and I want to do it. So what do we need to do to make it happen?
Yeah, it's more of a sacrifice in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
time
Because
and
I don't have
energy.
the luxury to just go and do 10 shows a year. I mean, with my husband also competing, but then also with my kids, like we try to be mindful of what we do because this is a hobby. It's not our career. So we try to be
Mhm.
mindful of that so that way we're not like taking away from their childhood.
For sure. Yeah, I love that. Do you think there was something that made it click this year for you that you would earn what you had been working so hard for?
Gosh, that's a really good question. Um I just felt peace. I just remember telling my husband that like especially at this last prep. Um, like, I don't wanna say I knew because you never know. You never know who's going to show up, and you never know what the judges are going to really want there because every judge is different. That's why there's a panel of them. But I just felt so at peace, but I think that's because I knew Jordan was giving me 100% and doing everything she could for me, and I knew I was giving 100%. So at that point, I knew that no matter what the outcome was, like we both gave it our best and whatever will happen will happen. But I don't really know if something clicked as much as it was like everything fell into place as it should.
That makes sense. It's kinda
Yeah.
like everything it wasn't just pieces of success, it was all the pieces finally came together.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really wonderful. And now, I mean, you earn this with your husband, which is really cool, and you were motivated, as you said, when he won
Yeah.
his. So what did it mean to you when you won yours?
Gosh. I don't know. It was just I don't want to get teary-eyed, but like this is something that I've wanted since I started competing back in 2014. I think every competitor when they first start, their goal is to become pro.
Mhm.
So when I stopped competing back in 2015 and I was close to winning my pro card, but then I took 8 years off, coming back to stage, it was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm like, I don't have a choice. I'm going to do this. Otherwise, it's really embarrassing if I don't.
Yeah.
Um, so it just felt really, it was just cool. I don't know. It was so cool, especially because my husband had already won his. Um,
Mhm.
so it's just like we both did it and we both did it together. And it felt like both of our journeys, you know, were intertwined. Um, so it just made it that much sweeter too.
Yeah, by the way, I like that word actually. I think intertwingled is very
It sounds so much cuter than intertwined, right?
it does. But yeah, that's really beautiful. You know, what a flex to to have that with your husband. Like it's hard for one person to
Yeah.
earn their pro card, let alone two people in the same household under the same roof, raising two children, running full-time jobs and businesses. That's amazing.
It's really cool, and honestly, it's really cool too when you hear it from our kids saying it because they're like
Aw,
they're like, "Yeah, my mom and dad are professional athletes."
that's
So
so awesome.
it's just fun to see, like, them how they see us, through their eyes, I think is really cool too.
Oh yeah, it's special to know that they admire and look up to you guys.
I would like to think so. They used to call Patrick, like a superhero. I was always just muscular, and, like, so now when I pick them up from school, their friends are like, "Will you flex for us?"
No way.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah. Yes, I do." I think it's funny. So I'll, like, flex for his friends, and Owen's like, "Yeah, she's a professional athlete."
I bet, he's gonna start being like, "Mom, you need a flex for my," like, it's gonna be a party trick, you know?
It's either until he's gonna be too cool, and then at
Yeah.
that point, he's gonna be like, "Mom, my friends are coming over. Will you put a jacket on?"
Yeah, that's so true. I love that
Mhm.
so much. That's so cute. I think it's adorable when kids work out and flex and they enjoy that life. Like it makes me happy seeing children find confidence and strength in their body outside of
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
and you can tell too, like, if you were to talk to my oldest about it, like, when we've taken him to shows, because they have watched us compete too, which is another just really cool thing as a parent to have your kids, like, hearing them say, like, "Go mama." Like, I started crying
Oh,
backstage because I could
I bet.
hear my 3-year-old yelling for me.
Oh, stop.
It was the sweetest thing ever, but Owen, when he's watching shows, he can call who's gonna win. So, like, he knows. Oh,
No.
yeah, so, like, he knows, he loves it. So, whether or not he ever bodybuilds, that's another conversation, and I don't even really care if he ever does or doesn't, but it's cool because he enjoys going and watching, and he'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I like that guy. That guy is gonna win, mom, watch." And, like, sure enough, like, he always, like, calls it too. So I'm like, "Maybe
That's
you'll be a
incredible.
judge if anything."
Right? That's so awesome. I
Yeah.
I love that. It's really amazing too when you expose people long enough to it, they start to pick up on it,
Mhm.
but to hear that even a 3-year-old, like, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll be like a stand-in at one of your guys' live events where
I
you gave
mean,
him
as long as, like, when I'm practicing posing, if they can start, like, picking up on what judges want and give me feedback while I'm practicing at home, I'll take it.
That's right, be brutally honest with me.
Yes.
That's so cool. So do you feel like your experiences from overcoming the eating disorder and a bad breakup, as well as growing your family, earning your pro card, while, like I said, running a business, do you feel like that influences your approach to coaching as well?
Yes, I feel like gosh, I get it. I understand. So, when I'm coaching women and whether they work full time or they're stay-at-home moms, whether they've had kids or haven't kids, I mean, because I've literally have lived it, I get it. So I do think that it's made me a better coach, especially because people want like most people want coaches because they want to be held accountable, right? But they also just want to be told what to do to get to their goals. But I also feel like a lot of people don't hire coaches because they think they have to be 100% in to have a coach and to get results. And you don't, because at this point, if you're not competing and you're just wanting to better yourself, you want someone who understands and gets you, and you know that you don't have to be perfect to get your goals. So you can go live your life. You can go out and have drinks with friends, and you can go out and eat out with your husband and go on dates so I do think it's made me a better coach because gosh, I feel like I've hit every category of like what could someone go through to have a horrible body image or just, outcome. So I think it's just made me a lot more understanding and then being able to give them tactical things that they can do to make changes or to better themselves in whatever situation that they're in or they're struggling with. Yeah.
So I'll ask this selfishly, but like, what would you tell me or someone who's gonna be a mom for the first time soon? Like, what should I expect, or what are some things you'd recommend so that health, fitness, all these things they are always and still a priority?
So if you're pregnant, I would say to keep doing what you're doing. You do not have to stop working out. And in fact, I think I recovered quicker because I did not stop working out. I mean, the day I went into labor with my first son, I trained legs in the morning and I went hard. I mean, like, I don't want to say that
Nice.
induced labor because it didn't, but like, you have to like modify your exercises, obviously, because you've got a belly now and you got a baby in your belly, but you can still train hard. You can still live like an athlete modified. But then also to like give yourself grace because if you have morning sickness or if you're not feeling great that day, then it probably is better for your body to just rest and recover. But yeah, giving myself grace was the biggest lesson that I learned personally whenever I was pregnant or even postpartum, because that was the rudest wake up call of my life. Like being like, my stomach feels like a pillow. I am
Mm.
exhausted because I have a baby, but I would still go on walks. I would still stretch and I would still work out at home with
Wow.
both of my kids. So showing yourself grace would probably be the biggest piece of advice for any new mom.
How did you know you were ready to, like, do things like go on walks?
Um, so with my first, I definitely listened to the doctor's advice and I took 6 weeks off and I didn't do anything except for like stretching at home just to keep my body moving. But you'll want to get out of the house, honestly. Like mentally, you need to get out of the house. Stop looking at your dirty sink, stop looking at the laundry. You've got a crying baby, y'all need fresh air. So, like, for me, that's how I knew I was ready because I was like, "I'm tired of being in this house. I need something to do." So, I would just put, Owen in the stroller and I would just walk around the neighborhood and just take
Wow.
light walks. And then for me personally, once I realized like, "Oh, I felt good after that," then it just kind of became like a daily habit of going on walks and kind of moving your body, and then once that felt good, then I was like, I think I could do some light weights and things like that. So I think it's based off of how you feel, and you'll know when you're ready.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was your motivation low ever during pregnancy and postpartum?
Have you seen my husband? I would say motivation, yes. Dedication, no. Because like I said, when my husband wanted to compete again, I was like, I don't want to be some fluffy wife while you look jacked. And it was the same thing whenever we were, dating or newly married, and we weren't competing. I mean, he's ripped. Even when he doesn't try to be, he's always just been ripped. And so for me, it's always just been like, well, I wanna keep up, but also I just live the lifestyle anyway, so your motivation is definitely low when you're a first-time mom because you've got a newborn baby, they're up all hours of the night, you're exhausted, so just moving your body, like, just doing something small, like I said, like going on walks will help. It helps with recovery, but then it also just helps mentally and emotionally, and then when you are ready to take the next step and be more serious and, like, truly get back in the gym, um, that's when obviously everything kind of falls back into place and you find you again. But I would say too, like
Oh,
after having kids, it gave me such like it made me so proud of my body. Like,
oh,
because it was like, I did that. I did that. And so like it gave me a lot more respect for my body of what we're able to do as women. Um, and so I think that really helped me too. 'Cause, like, I've seen my body at every stage now of, being overweight, being way too thin, being pregnant, and then, now as an athlete. So, because I've seen my body at every stage, like, I just know that no matter where a certain woman is at in her journey, she can get back or she can either get back to where she was or she can be even better.
that's really cool. I love
Yeah.
that. I think that's very encouraging, especially because I know there's a lot of competitors who are probably listening to who worry about stepping away to start a
Yeah.
family because they don't
No.
know what will that look like
Mhm.
after. So I think what you're saying is very encouraging.
Yeah, you can always come back to stage. And if anything, when you come back, it's so cool because the girls that either never stepped away or the girls that stepped away and came back too, I mean, like, the community is just so welcoming. And I remember, like, when I first started coming back, a lot of these girls that I've made friends with, back when I started competing, they're like, the OG is back." Like, so
Aw.
you can always step away. I mean, granted, when you come back, you'll have different challenges like I have, and I still have some diastasis recti and things that I have to work through. Pelvic floor is like the main thing that is an issue for most women after they have babies.
Mhm.
So when you come back, you kind of have to change your tactics, if you will, of like how you train and how you do things or what you need to work on. Um, but there's always a solution to the problem. So it just really helps having a coach that knows that.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great. I like that. It's not everything's figure outable basically.
Yes, 100%. And there's no one size fits all. So even if you've never had kids before, you're going to have a coach who hopefully is meeting your needs based off of like what's going on with you versus like giving a blanket approach to everything that's not going to give you the results that you might specifically need.
For sure. So what inspired you to start helping moms really develop sustainable routines?
My DMs, people like would message me and be like, "Hey, can you help me?" Or, yeah, it's just people reaching out wanting help. And I got tired of telling people no. So now, I get to help other women reach their goals. And so it's so cool too. I think like whenever they message me back, like after I've been helping them for a while and they're like so excited that they're finally like within their goal range of their weight that they wanted to be, or they'll send me pictures and they're like, I can see my muscles in the gym. And you're like,
Wow.
yeah. So it's so cool because I mean, obviously, we get excited about our own journeys, but knowing that, like, I'm helping other women reach theirs too is so gratifying.
Oh, it's so great. Like,
Yeah.
as a mental health professional, like getting a text from one of
Yes.
my clients in my business saying, "Oh my gosh, like, is it bad that now I don't care about food at all? Like, I think you helped me too much." And I'm like, "This is great news. Like, I think
Yeah.
you should," or like, "Oh my gosh, I finally wore a crop top for the first time in my improvement season." And I felt, it's like, wow, that is so rewarding to see people.
100%. Yeah, and I mean, you feel like you're making a difference, and then, bodybuilding itself is a very selfish sport to most people, that's how they view it.
Yep,
So, like, as a coach, I feel less selfish because
that's
at
right.
least now I'm passing on my knowledge to other women, even if they're not competing. We're at least building something that's, like, sustainable for them to do, especially in their chaotic time, if they're most of them are moms, so it's what can we do for you that fits your lifestyle currently, by just making, like, small tweaks to where you'll be able to get closer to your goals.
Yeah, it's interesting too when you say that because I feel like so many of us live very selfless lives.
Mhm.
And when you start something you really love, bodybuilding in particular, given it has developed somewhat of a reputation for vanity as well,
Mhm.
it can be looked at and ridiculed for selfishness so much more than, say, someone who does a book club every week or someone
Right.
who. So, s no matter what, you're doing something you really love, but for some reason that gets a bad rap, and I like how, with fitness, one of the things that's important to remind ourselves is it's selfish in some ways, depending on how you look at it, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like, you know this, I know this, those of us who are in it know it, but we can help other people to see and support if they don't yet accept this. When you take care of your body and you're nourished and you're
Mhm.
moving, you're so much more likely to show up with
Yeah.
energy and presence and joy, and
Yeah.
that is selfless.
Yeah, 100%. And, like, for me personally, and I know a lot of people out there are the same way, going to the gym is my therapy. So, like,
Mhm.
I look forward to it every day, or I don't train every day, but I look forward to my training days. Or I know that, like, if it's just a bad day, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to get it out in the gym. And like what you're saying, like sometimes then going to the gym, having that time for yourself to decompress or to process things that's going on in your life then allows you to, show up better for other people. And so some people it's not going to the gym. Some people it is taking time for themselves and it looks different for their own self-care. But I mean, for me personally, I don't know. I always joke, I'm like, I'm just a psycho. I just going to the gym for me is my therapy.
As a therapist, I can agree that
Yeah.
it's good therapy. I It's not it's not CBT, DBT, IFS, it's none of that, but it's really important, and we have, if I think all mental health professionals should be able to see physical health is absolutely pertinent,
Yeah.
no matter stage of life, abilities, history, all that aside, being able to take care of your body is pertinent to your mental health.
100%. And I know personally I show up better as a mom and as a wife whenever I've had that time in my day to take care of myself, in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about this. I was walking my dog Bubba earlier and I was like, wow, like every time every time I go outside with him, I feel so much better. Like I'm a different human being. Like I
Yes.
start thinking of things that I'm grateful for and excited about. And I'm like, I should really like, because I sometimes dread it now. I'm just, "Oh, I don't want to go." And then I
Yeah.
go, and I feel so great. And I
Keep
think
that
that's
mindset for when your son is here. 'Cause it'll be the same thing. You'll be dreading going, but then you'll go, and then afterwards, you'll feel so much better.
that's good to know. Because there's been some days I go into the gym some days are just like, I can't
Yes.
do it. And the only time I feel like doing it is when I'm there and I've started it. That's
Yes.
it. Well,
Yeah, and
I
you
just
do
have to
need to
start.
listen to your body. So if you're not feeling it even in your workout, just, like, take a break or go home. Like, that's totally fine too, because
Love that.
there is an end goal, but it's not going to be attained in a day. So just taking one bite at a time, I always say, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I tell my girls that too, is that we're not working towards perfectionism. We're working towards like being realistic and actually having like lifestyle changes that once these small things you start doing them consistently, then it'll add up. So we're looking for consistency, not perfectionism. And I think then that allows them to like have more grace with themselves and their own journeys.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're fostering self-compassion in them.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I'm
really
trying.
good. You are consistently encouraging self-compassion to be
Yes. Well, I feel like women are just so hard on themselves. I mean,
so
I know I used to be. So if I can foster that in someone and then they start to see themselves differently, and they start treating exercising as something they enjoy versus like a punishment, because that's something I used to do too, especially when I was having my eating
yep.
disorder. I would, I was bulimic because I was punishing myself. And then I
Yeah.
was working out because I was punishing myself. So I feel like as women, a majority of women work out and do that because they've overate or they overdrink or they just think that like they have to starve themselves to be skinny. And so if you can start finding confidence in who you are in where you're at, you're going to be more successful in actually like reaching those goals that you have for yourself.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think unfortunately sometimes people are driven by the idea of perfectionism,
Mhm.
and that is really like it's really the enemy to
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah. 100% it is.
So yeah, consistency over perfection is really important, and I think that also speaks to some of what you've been sharing in your off-season journey. I've been really enjoying the highlights of your off-season. Um, Actually, you've been sharing every month an update, highlighting it, and despite life stressors, which are inevitable, of course,
Yeah.
um, sickness, 9-hour work days, things like this, how are you managing your growing season with a consistency mindset instead of a perfectionism one?
I am trying to show myself grace. So I'm trying to practice what I preach to all these other women, which I think sometimes is harder because it's easier said than done half the time.
Mhm.
Um, but honestly, I think I'm also enjoying being in off season. So even though I know I've got like all of these additional life stressors, um, I'm glad that they're happening now versus in
Yeah.
prep. I mean, you're still going to have life stressors in prep, but I'm just taking it as it comes. As moms, sometimes we've got sick kids or we're sick because our kids are sick too. I own my own businesses, so my plate is always full. But in this particular off season, I'm only training 4 days a week and I'm only doing 15 minutes of cardio. So thankfully, my off-season training and schedule itself allows for more life to happen,
Yeah.
to where I've got more flexibility in my off-season. But like I said too, it's a part of the process. I mean, life is always gonna be life in, right? So you can either let it tear you down and stop you, or you can put your hair up and, get things done. And so, granted, some days I've got the mentality of like, okay, this sucks. I don't want to do anything. And if my body is run down, I do listen to that and I will just go on a walk to hopefully help release cortisol and to just kind of find my center again. Some days it's where I know I'm like, no, I need a hard training session. So I think too, like being so in tune with my body and knowing what it needs and listening to it is helping me through whatever life is throwing at me right now.
That's so good. And it's it's weird. I feel like a lot of us, I don't know what it was that kind of ingrained in us or taught us that hard times don't really last, but I found as an adult that they do. It's hard time
Yeah.
after hard time after hard. It
Yes.
won't go away. So waiting until it's better,
Yes.
easier, it won't do anything. So you showing up for yourself, giving yourself grace, continuing to execute and using it as an opportunity to know your body better is such a great
Yeah.
perspective and lesson for so many of us, especially those of us who might be in a harder season.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes too, being in a harder season or being in a different season of life means that you have to approach things differently too.
Mm.
Um, and finding something that you enjoy though helps with that. So whether it's lifting weights or if you like cycling or if you like going on walks or whatever it is, like finding kind of what we spoke about, like finding that one thing that you enjoy helps you then kind of like either get through whatever you're going through, or at least you're finding some type of like mental and emotional outlet and also physical, if it is physical, to where then you're getting through the process a lot better or a lot easier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have, I spoke with you a little bit about this before we hit record, but you've really expressed your faith in God. And that was one of the reasons I was really excited to reach out to you actually to be on the podcast, because I think the way you share the word and you share the way he's working in your life is so beautiful. And I was hoping maybe you could share some of what God has done in your life through these different important roles you have and seasons you've been in to really shine his light on those areas that can be very hard.
Well, I'm glad that it inspired you because I feel like I could do better.
Mm.
Gosh, my faith in God, it is so foundational and it is such like a it's weird because it's like it feels so personal, even though I know other people have relationships with God, but like I feel like I have just such a assurance in him, but it's because I saw him. My mom had brain cancer back in 2016, or 2011, actually, sorry. Um, and I remember being in ICU with her. She had a 13-hour surgery. She did not look like herself. She was not coherent. And I just remember praying over her and I was reading the Bible and just asking for God's presence. And I never have felt his presence like I have during
Mm.
that time. But because of that, going through any season that I'm going through now, gosh, it's just like I know that he is there for me. I have been face down on the floor, bawling and praising God because I was in such a hard time and he showed up there too. But because like God has showed up for me in all of these times where I have needed him, um, it's like the small things, it's just like seems so minuscule to where it's like if I'm going through something hard, I like 100% know that God is there for me, and he's gonna get me through it. Um, so going back to your original question.
It's beautiful. I love what you shared.
I feel like I could still do better. I took I guess I could say I was, like, lukewarm or even, like, cold for the longest, but I think that's because I was relying too much on the fact that, like, I knew God was there, so I wasn't, like, pouring into my faith. But we all go through different seasons as Christians too, to where sometimes we're on fire for God and we're, like, all in 100%, and then there's some seasons where we're not, and we're not talking to him all the time, or we're not pursuing that as much. Um, so I don't know. It's just for me personally, I know I could still be better and being a better Christian and more in tune, but like we still pray with my kids every day. I prayed to God throughout all I could talk to him all throughout my day to where too, it's just like every moment, if you will, like, God is throughout all the day, like, I don't needed to be like, I don't think that you need to, like, go to church, and, like, that doesn't mean that, like, you're active in your faith. Yes, you are active in your faith if you're doing that, but, like, if God is with you all throughout all you're doing, then you can still, like, find moments of praise and moments of thankfulness, moments of encouragement, or moments of, like, struggling and having Him to rely on. So, for me as a Christian, like, and with bodybuilding, like I said, my gym is time is my therapy, but majority of the time I am listening to, like, worship music while I'm doing cardio, or I'm praying while I'm working out even, because like, something will pop in my mind, and I'll just start thinking about it and talking to God about it. Um, but it's because I have these moments to myself where, like, my kids don't need me, I'm not needed by work, I'm not needed by clients, it's like, this is my time, um, and so that allows me to have also then alone time with God.
That's beautiful.
I feel like that was really long-winded.
No, it was so oh, man, I could have listened to more. I'm actually curious, was your mom going through brain cancer what brought you closer to God, or were you all did you already have a testimony?
I was close to God, at that point, I was going to Abilene Christian University. I just didn't feel like, I've always believed in God, my mom was a Christian, um, so, like, I've always had a relationship with God, but it never really felt like my own also.
Mm.
So when my mom was, in surgery and she was out of it, I was like, "I've got no one else to turn to." So that's when I was like, I'm gonna turn to God. So I feel like for me, that was the pivotal point of my testimony. Like before that, I got baptized at a young age, so I don't feel like that really impacted me. I mean, I grew up in the Bible Belt, so I was going to church, I was going to church groups, I was going to summer camps and all of these things. But again, it just felt like I was doing it because my friends were doing it, or I was doing it because my mom was doing it. So that is like the main point of my testimony. That was just like, wow, like, God is real. He showed up, He provided, and He has met me when I'm face down on the floor. So, I would say I'm trying not to get emotional, but, like, that is, like, the true changing point of me, like, with my walk of faith, like, by walk of faith, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. I can relate in a lot of ways and appreciate you sharing that with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's weird too. Before we met, I was going over my questions. And I was like, should I ask her what is her testimony? Just ask her, and I was like, you'll let it be what it is.
I actually
Guaranteed.
have a cross tattoo on the back of my neck. That was where my mom had her incision line, because with her brain surgery, they cut her up. I mean, from like pretty
Yeah.
much to the crown of her scalp all the way down her spine. She has an incision
Mhm.
line. So I have a cross tattoo on the back of my neck for that reason. So that way, when people ask me, then it's a chance for me to share my testimony,
Wow.
and how God provided for me. So I'm glad that you asked, but also, yeah, anyone that ever, has asked, it's just a moment to be able to share and share how God showed up.
Wow. I love that so much. What a great way to glorify him.
Oh, yeah, and she's cancer free now, so if anything, I'm like, yeah, that's like the cherry on top.
Great. That's beautiful. That's amazing. Wow. How long has she been cancer free?
So I don't know when her technical they call it birthdays, for cancer
Okay.
whenever you are, like, cancer free. So I don't know, like, I think it was 2020. I think they had to wait 4
Wow.
years to be truly declared cancer free. And she had stage 3 as well, so that's why it's even just, like, a bigger win. The doctors were surprised she was even able to, like, walk and talk when they found her cancer with just how big her tumor was. Um, so it's been over a decade, but she still has to go in and get, MRIs done every 6 months just to make sure that the cancer hasn't come back since it was such an aggressive cancer.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
great. So glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Oh, good question. Um, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then let's get your best advice. So what would be your best advice for someone who's never competed before but wants to? And then your best advice for someone on their road to pro?
Gosh, well, I feel like this applies to both of those. Um, One, it's the same thing that every competitor says, it's to have fun. Enjoy the process, trust your coach. Well, I wouldn't say trust your coach. Make sure you get a good coach and then trust your coach.
Okay.
Um, but enjoy the process. And then also just know that bodybuilding is about losing more than it is about winning. Because there's only a certain amount of competitors that can win at a show. There's only a certain amount of shows each year. So, especially when you're starting out, just be humble enough to know that, like, you're probably going to lose, meaning you're not gonna get 1st or 2nd or 3rd, which is fine. Get judges' feedback, take on it, and then, like, grow or do whatever the feedback is for you personally, and just continuing to get better. I mean, that is bodybuilding. It's the process of getting better. It's not a end goal of an award. So, I feel like knowing that, like, or just know that if you are a first time competitor or if you are it is your road to pro, that, like, you're gonna have to lose more than you're gonna win. And that is part of bodybuilding and it's part of the process. So hopefully you're not like me and you're doing it for, over a decade and getting third call outs and second call outs and all of that. But if you do, there is hope.
You're proof of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful and very encouraging and very fitting with everything else that you shared. So I'd love for people to be able to follow your journey, connect with you, even work with you. So how can they do that?
Just find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Mallory period Ennis. I haven't added that IFBB Pro to my Instagram handle yet. I don't know if I'm going to. So it's just Mallory Ennis. It's just my name. And then I have a link in my bio if you are interested in working with me. I do work with women for all stages of their life. So whether you've had kids or not, or you're a competitor or you're not. Actually, I don't work with competitors. Let me take that back. But no matter what season of life you're in, I'm happy to work with you. So that's how you can find me.
Love it. Well, we'll put that in the show notes page, you guys, as always, on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, just scroll down to the category section, which is alphabetized. Not only will you see how you can connect with us, but you're also going to see a full summary of the topics we covered, a bulleted list of uh, well, the topics we covered as well, because we're gonna see the summary and a bulleted list of it if you prefer bullet points, which I tend to. And then timestamps, so you can go back and listen to your favorite parts or share it with your friends, your family, your teammates, let them know what resonated with you. And of course, please tag us if you listen or share, even reach out to us privately. It goes a long way for the athletes. Of course, it means a lot to the show when you do this or you leave a rating and review. So thank you guys in advance for doing that. Mallory, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And to everybody listening, hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world where you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.